Where do you see this? These are the people who've been shaming everybody for not social distancing since April, celebrating a guy who's been shaming people for not social distancing since April. Yeah, if you live outside of the United States, take a look. This is the level of idiocy we're dealing with here in America. People pretending they care about a virus until they have something they want to celebrate or protest. But Joey, they're all wearing masks. Oh really? Is this guy wearing a mask? Hey man, you want my mouth herpes? Oh, don't worry, you can't get it. As long as I put my mask back on after I scream in your face, you should be okay. Yeah, let's suck each other's spit off a bottle, then put our masks back on to protect each other. Do you realize there's people in this crowd with master's degrees? You'd think we could squeeze a common sense course into the education reform curriculum at some point? Well, at least most of them are wearing masks. Okay, so they're only half hypocrites. Cool.
If everybody wore masks and social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives.
Yeah, looks like they're right on board with your message, pal.
Wow, whoever thought Idiocracy was a documentary? And yeah, the idiocy is thick and the IQ is very low. We are in trouble. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org. That was yet another excellent video by a Joey B. Tunes. We will have his video down in the description below that we just played a short expert from. Definitely go and subscribe to him. But yeah, as he described, the idiocy just continues on and on in the United States and all over the world surrounding the conholio sickness. And I think, hypothetically, the cartoon that you're seeing on screen right now could be potentially partially true. Maybe, I'm not an expert, but it doesn't take a genius to understand that skepticism should be your best friend in 2020, and that is definitely exemplified when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein case, which shows how many elements of law enforcement, government, politics, media, and science were all entangled by a mysteriously rich person who was able to abuse children for over 30 years, all under the watchful eyes of the people who ask you to trust them the most. The government. Again, you want a reason to be skeptical of government? The Jeffrey Epstein case is definitely the perfect example of this. And as if we needed more reason to distrust government today, we have the latest breaking news happening right now. There is no action being taken against the, quote, prosecutors who made the sweetheart deal of a lifetime for Jeffrey Epstein that allowed him to abuse countless numbers of children. Yes, according to the U.S. Justice Department and their investigation, which just ended, there will be no action taken against the government officials that essentially allowed Epstein to continue his abuse of children. Yes, government agents that were complicit, that were in part corrupted by Jeffrey Epstein in all examples of the way, won't face any legal repercussions for their actions allowing a child predator to abuse children. If that doesn't enrage you, if that doesn't anger you, I'm sorry, you are an utter idiot simp of the government whose favorite pastime is bootlicking. Are you a gosh darn government bootlicking simp to allow this nonsense to happen? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, letting billionaires get away with unspeakable acts that we can't even mention on this YouTube channel because this is a family-friendly YouTube channel. We can't even describe in detail what happened here, and we won't, but the fact that government agents that were complicit in his abuse for over 30 years won't face any legal repercussions should show you everything you need to know about the government, about the Justice Department, about the police officers involved, about the judges, the prosecutors, and high-level politicians that allowed this to happen. Again, a lot of secrets went away with Jeffrey Epstein, and still, we don't know, in my opinion, even 1/10 of what actually happened and to what degree. Again, a lot of very bad people are still out there today that have still yet to face any repercussions for their horrible actions. And it's important to note here that these are the same institutions and organizations now, especially the Justice Department, that are, quote, investigating if there was election fraud. Since, again, this is a big topic of discussion that's being censored on social media. Some people say there is, some people say there wasn't. It's important to note here, yesterday Tucker Carlson revealed at least 25 names of individuals who have passed away who voted in this year's election. But can we trust these kind of government agencies that are becoming more political to give us the truth? Well, I think there's reason to be skeptical. Hey, crazy idea. How about we just split the country up in half? Seriously, one side gets all the government that they want. Let's give them bigger. Let's give them more government. The other side, let's just be left alone. The people who just want to be on their own, don't want big government, they could be on one side. The people who want government will be on another. There will be peace. There will be prosperity. There will be calm. And everyone gets what they want. 25 states of peace, 2 separate authorities, one very big one that's barely there. If we can't coexist, let's just split apart. I think this is a great idea. And hell, let's start talking about it, because it seems like that's going to be a lot better of a plan than anything else that we're facing in 2020. Now, before we get into the latest insanity of a government official literally calling for lockdowns in the United States while calling for more immigration, I wanted to remind everyone that this independent news organization survives because of your support. And one way to easily support us is on patreon.com. We will be releasing a video specifically only for sponsors in just a few moments. That video is being edited right now and will be the amazing highlights from our Bash It 2020 event, which was absolutely hilarious. Yes, get to see behind the scenes content and to talk to me directly through Patreon. The link, of course, will be down in the description below. Now, yesterday, just in briefing, we mentioned how China has been lecturing the United States about human rights at the United Nations Human Rights Council, which was absolutely hilarious and poetic since it's coming from China. And the fact that China is now a member of the UN Human Rights Council is just absolute proof of how much of a charade, of how much of a joke the entire institution is. By the way, some of the work that the United Nations has done has been absolutely horrible, as there are explosive documents and cases of them employing pedos that have abused countless numbers of children all throughout the world. Again, this is not an institution that should be trusted at all, since there is a lot of lack of accountability within it, and some of the actions that they have been caught doing are absolutely abhorrent. The United Nations isn't just favorable towards China, it's also a lot of the big tech monopolies, and also Joe Biden, who is extremely soft and also very defensive on China, which of course him and his son have many business dealings with. So yeah, I could see that as a major concern for a lot of people, because I think it's a legitimate one. The love affair between China and Joe Biden is not just through business deals, it's also with some ideas, as even Joe Biden's state media appointee advocate previously argued for the use of propaganda against American citizens and, quote, also rethinking the First Amendment. Yes, rethinking free speech, which is something non-existent in China, which also uses a lot of propaganda against its own citizens. Also, it looks like the Biden administration is going towards more restrictive lockdowns and controls of the citizenry here in the United States, as Biden's Conholio sickness advisor just advocated for 4 to 6 weeks to, quote, I'm not kidding here, flatten the curve. Yes, we need to flatten the curve and lock down the country for 4 to 6 weeks. Yep, this is something we literally heard about 10 months ago, that it was just going to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And now 10 months later, it's just another 4 to 6 weeks, which is absolutely ridiculous. A lot of his Democratic allies aren't waiting until he takes office, and they're deciding to take measures into their own hands, as New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is now ordering all bars and restaurants to be shut down by 10 p.m. and for people not to gather by 10 people or more. All of this is happening as his brother is literally gallivanting all throughout town, violating mask mandates, walking around when he was sick with a conholio sickness, violating quarantine, and even was notified by his apartment building managers that he will face a fine for clearly not wearing a mask and violating the rules of the apartment building that he lives in. Yeah, you would think more people would take them seriously if they themselves took what they advocated for seriously. And if you want to lock down and destroy businesses and private enterprises of small mom and pop shops, of small businesses, while multinational corporations get to do whatever they want, if you're going to do that, at least at the same time take away your own paycheck, just like the paycheck you're taking away from everyone else. But these hubris, egotistical, filled maniacs, of course, won't do that. They will keep advocating for policies that they are literally making up on the spot, while their own family relatives violate it blatantly without any concern. Again, when we look at lockdowns, we see an extreme amount of pain and suffering on individuals who are paying the ultimate price for extremely bad government policies that even Dr. Fauci is against. Yes, Dr. Fauci, of all people, is against more lockdowns. And he is officially speaking out against Biden's new conholio sickness chief, saying the United States does not need to go into a 6 weeks national lockdown, which again shows you that Biden's main guy isn't even following the science when it comes for advocating policies that will absolutely riddle and destroy human life for a huge number of individuals. This is why there's theories out there that these lockdowns are all about destroying small and middle class businesses, so there is a new peasant slave class that will be fully dependent on government and the new ruling multinational corporations that are able to do whatever they want. Amazon, Walmart, their doors are open. Your local mom and pop shop, they're going to get a visit from the NYPD. They're going to be shut down, extorted, and robbed of their livelihoods, all in the name of, quote, science, which is absolutely ridiculous. And most of Americans are seeing this, as there's a new poll coming out showing that the majority of Americans won't comply with new lockdowns if they are instituted. This is also another reason we are seeing record numbers of protests all throughout Europe, which has mainly locked down. What is allowed to be locked down, what is allowed to be open, all of it usually is made up on the spot by politicians, and who knows how far they will take it. As in Indonesia, they are literally forcing people to do push-ups for not wearing masks. Yes, just when you thought things can get more ridiculous, the Indonesian police are grouping people together to do push-ups together in order to punish them for not protecting themselves against the conholio sickness. Look at that guy. He looks like he's just humping the ground there. Lots of guys sadly don't know how to do push-ups. There's a huge lack of testosterone in the average male, but that's a whole separate topic and video. But while Joe Biden plans on locking down the United States, he's also planning on, of course, having the borders open. Yep, Joe Biden literally wants to punish you while keeping borders representatively open, as of course he is planning on sweeping reversals of all of Trump's immigration laws and policies, which would essentially create a massive number of influx of individuals already preparing to enter the United States from the Mexican border. Yes, as soon as Joe Biden retracts all of Donald Trump's immigration laws, you could definitely expect a large influx of individuals who will try to get into the United States. But who knows, since of course Barack Obama actually deported more individuals than Donald Trump. So things could go either way, but just in his own policy, already it's filled with a lot of duplicitous hypocrisy that absolutely helps no one, except for the multinational corporation globalists that will profit off of the free slave labor that they get from immigrants, while their competitors are locked down and have police officers shutting them down, robbing their wealth right in front of their eyes, or just causing havoc and misery to the most vulnerable in our society. So yeah, I'm usually, an optimist. I'm usually very optimistic about things, but things are definitely shaping up to be let's just say not better from here. Prepare accordingly. If you thought anything I shared in this video was helpful or useful, please share it with your friends and family members. Even if it's not this video, even if it's an article, just start to become more active when it comes to communicating to your community, your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers, your loved ones. I think it's extremely important to voice up our concerns more than ever. And because you guys still share this video, because you guys still care about what happens, this is one of the reasons why I am still here. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on We Are Change. org.